Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are absolutely delighted to have you all with us for the second year of the SupTech. My name is Drew Propson. I am the head of technology and innovation and financial services at the World Economic Forum. And I am here with Simone di Castri, who's the co-founder and co-head of the Cambridge SupTech Lab. The theme of this year is, of course, Insights and Innovations for Digital Financial Supervision. And this event then is intended to be a platform for different communities, public sector, financial industry, tech and data science, and the international development community to really all share recent experimentation, research, and lessons that collectively can help us advance the digital transformation of financial supervision. After last year's successful edition, and thank you for those who have joined us for that, this year's SupTech Week has grown in a real effort to provide extra value to the SupTech ecosystem, both for those joining us remotely as well as in person. So on the in-person side, we have around 50 plus delegates joining from around the world for some sessions here in New York City. We'll focus on a few different areas, financial industry and public sector partnerships tomorrow, as well as the vendor agency relationship, which will be hosted at the World Economic Forum New York City office. We also have in the evening then an AI and SupTech reception at the Accenture Digital Hub. We will be looking then on Wednesday at digital financial consumer protection at Mayer Brown, and then finally a peer exchange on digital asset supervision led by the New York Department of Financial Services on Thursday. Remotely, we will be covering a wide range of topics throughout the week. You all are among around 1,300 registered participants from 130 plus countries across the globe. And we have 9 deputy governors speaking this week. So over 25 hours of live content. Really look forward to having you join us. So with this, I'm happy to pass over to Simone for further details on the week.
Thank you so much, Drew. Hi, everyone. Welcome to SupTech Week. So the online experience this year is really expanding to provide this forum with sessions from Monday through Friday, as well as a SupTech hackathon that started last week, an artificial intelligence bootcamp on Thursday, and the registrations are still open on www.suptechweek.org. And the booths that you can access through the same platform where we are now, we will be able to check out SupTech vendors demos and learn more about the work of the Cambridge SupTech Lab as well. So we really encourage you to engage at the booths before and after the online sessions. We have a very rich agenda and we want to move quickly to our first guest. But before we move there, we want to thank really all the moderators, all the speakers, all the colleagues in our teams whose passion and work and make this event possible, and the partners organizations who are leading sessions throughout the week. So we want to express our gratitude to AIR, to the Arab Monetary Fund, the Asian Development Bank, the BS Innovation Hub, SIGAP, the Netherlands Bank and the Vrije University of Amsterdam, the UI and EU Supervisory Digital Finance Academy, the FCA and FinTech Scotland, the Insurance Superintendency of the Dominican Republic, Integral Governance Solutions, Inter-American Development Bank, La Trobe University, Starling Trust, the Toronto Center, and Women in Regulatory Innovation.
Great, thanks, Simone. Just a few words for everyone on AirMeet instructions. So AirMeet being the platform that we're all using today. So you're aware every session is going to be recorded and you'll be able to access the recordings then directly in the schedule by clicking watch replay. It should be pretty soon after the session ends, just a minute or two after the session ends. You'll also be able to engage in the chat, of course, in all sessions. Please submit questions in the Q&A feature and voice your opinion in the polls that you'll be seeing. So do make sure that you review the resources section to dive deeper into some of the materials that will be mentioned throughout the sessions. And then at the beginning and the end of every event day, as well as in any breaks, really, we all encourage you to be exploring the booths section of the platform. So registration for SupTech Week is free and open to the public, and you can still, of course, certainly encourage your colleagues, please, and your network to register and join us for the remainder of the sessions this week. So with this, it's time to kick off, and it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our first speaker, Alessandra Perrazelli, the Deputy Governor of Banca d'Italia, who will deliver a keynote on the rise of supervisory cooperation in AI governance. Alessandra, thank you so much for joining us today. Over to you.
Well, thank you for having me today. I'm delighted to be able to join you. And this is one of the topics, that is very close to my heart. And I would like to offer, a brief preview of the analysis and proposals I have explored in an upcoming issue of the Cambridge Forum on AI, Law and Government, which is something that it's a topic that we have been also very much studying in the Banca d'Italia in our departments that have been dealing with these issues. Now, the central question that I address here is, how can we turn high-level principles on AI governance into coherent supervisory practices? And my answer here is quite clear. Technological innovation calls for financial supervisors and central banks to work together with other market authorities to ensure legal predictability, foster consumer trust in the digital economy, and maximize the efficient use of taxpayers' money. Now let's look at what's happening, and how the artificial intelligence is transforming industries. And the IMF has estimated that by 2027, investment in AI systems for the financial services sector will reach $400 billion, up from $166 billion in 2023. In SupTech, the use by financial authorities of advanced data collection analysis tools enabled by innovative technologies is on the rise, and as shown by the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, supervisory authorities, their use in SupTech increased to 59% in 2023, a 5 percentage point rise from 2022. So AI supports central banks by making sure that there is an enhancement in oversight of payment systems, improving information collection, and enabling real-time economic analysis. Now, if we look at this, the other question is, what can go wrong? And the risk of a rapid AI adoption by financial institutions without an adequate management of the risks that are arising may lead to insufficient monitoring by financial authorities. So malicious actors could exploit AI to harm financial stability. So supervisory effectiveness may diminish if regulatory lack of AI-related skills and knowledge. So insufficient investment in these areas, creates more risks to financial systems. And key risks include AI-related third-party dependencies and market concentrations among technology providers, correlations in financial markets from widespread use of AI models with similar training data, cyber vulnerabilities arising from malicious actors leveraging AI, and model risk due to limited explainability of AI methods and poor data quality in AI models without robust governance. Okay, let's look at what we have in terms of high-level principles. Now we have the OECD AI principles in 2019, updated in 2024, is the first intergovernmental AI principles that promote innovative, trustworthy AI aligned with democratic values and equitable benefit sharing. And this has laid the foundation for the G20 AI principles that was adopted by the G20 trade ministers and digital economy ministers that met in 2019 in Japan. And then we have the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI, and that's 2021. We have UNESCO readiness assessment methodology, which is also a tool that helps in assessing AI governance readiness across legal, economic, and educational dimensions. And then we have the UN High-Level Advisory Board on Artificial Intelligence, and that was set in 2024, and that's a governmental blueprint with 7 recommendations addressing the gaps, promoting human rights, and fostering inclusive development. And then we have the international G7 guiding principles on AI at Hiroshima AI process. And that includes a volunteer code of conduct for AI developers. All right, if this is what we have, what we cannot have here, it's a harmonized cross-jurisdiction AI regulation. What we have here is conflicting national priorities, including national security, competition, human rights, hinder a unified AI regulatory framework. We don't have a major international agreement on AI governance. This is unlikely to happen soon. And supervisors must align practices and understanding to avoid exacerbating economic challenges for individuals and for firms. Okay, but what can we do as financial supervisors? And this is a question we have been asking ourselves a lot in the ECB Supervisory Board, together with my friend Elizabeth McCaul. What we can have is proactive governance initiatives that should anticipate potential AI threats rather than reacting merely. We can have financial regulators that, as we face disadvantages compared to private institutions, because we, including inferior expertise, computational resources, and access to data. And then independent regulatory approaches are impractical and may lead to legal uncertainty and redundancy. Okay, so what is that we need to develop here? I think we have to go towards a shared monitoring scheme uniting regulators domestically and globally, and this can be established can establish best practices and prevent a siloed governance. Over-reliance on AI developers self-policing risks is unsafe, and it could be negative global externalities. And the monitoring scheme, needs to be developed both domestically and internationally, so that paving the way for coordinated AI oversight among as many countries as possible. And this is a bottom-up approach for, to AI monitoring activities that starts at national level. There are some jurisdictions that are already doing something, all right? And we have the UK Digital Regulatory Cooperation Forum, which, puts together efforts, coordinates from among data protection, competition, financial, and telecommunications authority. There is the UK AI Consortium that has been established by the Bank of England to assess AI's benefit, to manage risks, and propose guidelines for secure AI integration in financial systems. It is made by private sector stakeholders and AI experts to study AI potential benefits and examine a variety of risks, management approaches currently in use. There are similar initiatives in Australia with the Digital Platform Regulators Forum, in Canada with the Digital Regulators Forum, France, National Coordination Network, Ireland, Digital Regulators Group. In the Netherlands, we have, the Digital Regulation Cooperation Platform. And here the Authority for Digital Infrastructure and Data Protection Authority recommended on 17 November this year that the new AI market surveillance authorities, such as the Dutch Central Banks and the Dutch Authority for Financial Markets, collaborate with other market authorities, by sharing domain-specific insights and coordinating responses to emerging risks. This is a very interesting, approach by the Dutch. In Italy, we have a draft law on AI this year, and this mandates a coordinated framework for implementing the AI Act through a coordination committee under the presidency of the government. So we have the Italian Cybersecurity Agency and the Agency for Digital Italy, and Banca d'Italia is also going to be one of the authorities in charge and in coordination of these efforts across the country. A coordination committee is also being put together to with the presidency of the country to promote regulatory alignment and cooperation. Okay, let's look at what the EU has done so far. So we've gone from international to single states, and now let's look at what the EU has done. There is a comprehensive legal framework. The AI Act that entered into force this past August has been the first comprehensive AI safety legal framework. Then we have competent authorities overseeing AI implementation and market surveillance for regulated financial institutions that are coordinating with the European central banks when it's needed. And then there is the EU high-level group that supports coherent application of the Digital Markets Act in order to ensure AI innovation. Okay, what should be then our next goal, given all this? I think the coordination among financial, AI safety, competition, and telecommunications authority at the national level lays the foundation for a transnational dialogue that we need. There are potential for exchanges of best practices between regions like the UK and the EU. And I really hear a call for a EU-UK cooperation on this. These jurisdictions, they share similar values and regulatory standards in areas such as financial regulation, data protection, and competition. There is room to establish a constructive dialogue between supervisors and market authorities. Okay, let's then look at what the G7 is doing. And apologies for this noise. I don't know whether you can hear it. I think they're building new offices above my floor. There's nothing I can do, unfortunately. Stay with me. Okay, what is the G7 doing here? The G7 Finance and Central Bank is raising AI policy awareness through expert assessments of AI's evolution and economic risks. Last year, the Hiroshima process built the stage for current discussions and deep dives under the Italian presidency. And on October 4th, the G7 Competition Summit in Rome emphasized the coordination among regulators to foster cross-agency deliberations on AI. All right. Okay, so what are my takeaways of all this? I think that with global AI agreements unlikely, I think that aligning regulatory approach is crucial, and we need to reduce legal fragmentation and the effects that this legal fragmentation can have on markets and consumers. Specialized international organizations like the BIS, the WTO, the ITU, they provide infrastructure for international cooperation on AI risks, IP, and the standards that come with it. A coordinated monitoring ensures the consistent enforcement of AI regulations across borders, and we should begin by fostering supervisory coherence among like-minded countries that share common best practices and a unified policy understanding. So this approach forms a roadmap, for turning high-level principles into effective and coherent supervisory enforcements among as many jurisdictions as possible. And this is very much what I think we should be doing, promoting. And I think this is going to be, and this forum in particular could be an advocate for this cooperation. In times like the ones that we're living right now, there's nothing like cooperation, international cooperation among like-minded countries to bring everybody in. And I stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alessandra. I mean, you definitely covered a lot of ground on the national, regional, and international dimensions of AI deployments and governance. And today, the next session will be about the presentation of the State of SupTech report, where we do have data from over 100 financial authorities about how they're deploying AI and some of the challenges you mentioned. And then a number of sessions that will touch upon artificial intelligence deployment in SupTech. So thank you for giving us this very insightful framework to work through throughout the day. So now it's my honor to introduce Elizabeth McCaul, the former superintendent of banks of the state of New York, and until just a week ago, the European Central Bank member of the Supervisory Board. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us today. You've been a true inspiration for me and for the Cambridge SupTech Lab over the past years, and I'm looking forward with curiosity and excitement to your first keynote without wearing your ECB hat. Over to you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, and I really am grateful that you invited me to come. And let me compliment you on focusing in on this issue. It's an underlying tenet of financial stability that we have, and Alessandra did such a beautiful job describing this, that we have effective supervision. And so, the European Central Bank has, become known as a leader in SupTech, and that has everything to do with the leadership of fantastic colleagues like Alessandra around the supervisory board table, and an incredible staff that have put together some secret sauce with working across business lines and with technology to deliver solutions. So what I thought I'd do today, just briefly, is give you a perspective about why we pursued this leadership role at the European Central Bank and why it's important. Supervisors are not doctors saving people's lives, but rather they are there to protect people's life savings. And this is an incredibly important job. And so making sure that they are equipped, just like doctors have to accurately diagnose a medical condition to help a patient most effectively, supervisors need to really be aware of and equipped to deal with the structural changes that are taking place, the broader structural shifts that are affecting our overall society and our overall economy. The current market dynamics are unprecedented in terms of the complexity. So I thought I'd like to just give you a bit of a perspective about that, what faces the supervisors, and then how that underpins what we've put together for our strategy. President Lagarde said it really well. She said in the last 5 years, the supervisors have faced the worst pandemic in 100 years, the worst war in Europe in the last 70 years, and the most deep energy crisis in over 50 years. These are broad societal, economic, structural trends that supervisors have had to deal with, and they've done so quite effectively. The backdrop for the supervisors, in addition to these existential threats, has been very myriad, an acceleration of technological progress that has been unprecedented. We can say we're living in the renaissance of technology at the moment. The emergence of generative AI and what the impact of that will be on our society and our economy. The impact of social media on depositor behavior. We saw bank failures, bank runs from nations we would not have expected that to come from, and certainly the advent of social media has played a significant role in that. The reconfiguration of the financial value chain across the board with new competition in the market, from new entrants partnering or competing with fintechs that have entered the banking market, and an incredible growth in the market share of non-bank financial institutions, where we've seen an incredible shift of traditional banking activities taking place outside of the regulated banking system, and the emergence of new participants with a disintermediation, for example, in the payments process. This complexity is essential that supervisors can understand and can discern where there is emerging risks that are affecting the overall banking system, so that they can continue to protect the life savings of citizens across the world. So this adds up to a need for supervisors to have what I will call supervision. And we can look to the field of optometry, I think, to explain a little bit about where we are deploying SupTech technology to help equip our supervisors. Optometrists look at three different ways of how vision works. There's the central vision, which is at the core of what supervisors do every day. They're looking at the balance sheet, at the risk-weighted assets, at the credit lending that's taking place in the institutions, at the overall governance of the institutions, very direct line of sight. Then there's fringe vision, which takes us to the span from 20 degrees to 60 degrees beyond that direct central vision. And that's where there's attention being paid to climate transition, to the need for digital transition, for example. These are things we can see quite clearly, but they're on the fringes and moving more towards central vision and central risk. And then there's peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is everything beyond 60 degrees of a line of sight. This is the vision that athletes spend time training, because to be an incredible athlete, you have to have nimbleness, agility, the ability to anticipate, rebalance. These should sound familiar for what supervisors need to be doing in their everyday roles. And this complex market environment that I have just described underpins the need to exercise the peripheral vision quite strongly. And in that area, we are looking to equip the supervisors with new tools, new technology to understand those risks, but also to become familiar with those risks by using those tools themselves so that they can understand how risk and opportunity is affecting the direct line of sight and the balance sheet of the institutions that we supervise. So our strategy began over 5 years ago, where we looked at how we could develop and deploy SupTech tools to handle tasks. These are innovation tools that we have developed. There are 14 tools now that are live. They handle specific activities of the supervisors, and they deploy machine learning. And now in test production, we have also the use of generative AI to assist the supervisors in doing their jobs. For example, they are now able to query, instead of in SQL, our data lake. They can give a command in English and the programming language that's needed to penetrate that vast data lake to understand and synthesize risks to institutions and to the overall economy can then be drawn out and put together in a comprehensive and coherent way for the supervisors to understand. We're moving now from the innovation component. Innovation will continue, of course, but to a more integrated process that we call Olympus, where we are going to link these innovation tools into our overall IT strategy. And this is an extremely important part of our work, so that we can indeed have that supervision and have a very integrated, and Alessandra referred to this, we need to have harmonized, integrated, full line of sight, including peripheral vision, across the portfolio of institutions that we supervise. So I hope I've given you a bit of perspective about the underlying reasons why we are focused on continuing to have high quality, effective supervision, why central to that is developing a very comprehensive technology platform for the supervisors to use. Our vision is that down the road, we will have our supervisors with a cockpit in their hands that will deliver to their smartphones the key information that they need to understand the risks for the supervision that they need to do each day. We're not there, but we've laid a very, very critical foundation for that to work, so that we can all continue to enjoy the strength of our economy and financial stability globally through effective supervision provided by our fantastic supervisors. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth and Alessandra, both. Absolutely fantastic points to bring out as we kick off the week here. Really important. I'm going to keep my comments brief because we will be starting the next session shortly, but I wanted to highlight two things you brought up. Elizabeth, I think it's very important that we all keep front of mind the really important role of the supervisor in making sure that they have the tools and the technology that they need to be able to protect people's life savings. Incredibly important. And then Alessandra, if I'm going to point out one item to take away from your chat, we really need to have, when it comes to AI regulation and supervision, super important that we have coordination, cooperation, and collaboration, not only domestically, but also across the globe. So thank you both so much. We invite everyone to join the next session. You'll go to the chat and then you can click automatically in the next session. So we will see you there. Thank you again.